speaking of potential, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my God, the Dallas Cowboys. Jesus.
A team that is year in and year out touted by everyone in Texas and Jerry Jones, Father Jerry himself, as the team that's going to win it all every year. Dude, I've heard it. I'm from Dallas. I've heard it since 1995, every single year.
And from ESPN and all those too.
Everybody, every media outlet, every analyst, the Cowboys are going to be it's going to be a deep run for Dallas. They're definitely looking at as a contender for the Super Bowl. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 7-9, 8-8, 7-9. Total underperformance each and every year. And this year, I felt like people gave them that benefit of the doubt again this year. They should dominate the NFC East. And this year, this team is 2-4. They look like shit. Their defense looks like shit. Their offense looks like shit. And we're hearing now that it may have a lot to do with their coaching staff not being the kind of staff that maybe we expected them to be. Some anonymous players or an anonymous player actually came out and voiced that the coaches, in that player's opinion, don't know how to do their jobs and they don't know how to teach. What do you think about that situation as it's kind of unfolding? Because that's a hot mic to drop on the the most covered franchise in the league. I would think that they're probably trying to figure out who that player is right now.
Oh yeah, just watching Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and that would be funny if it was. But I can understand it because I've been, I didn't play a year in Dallas, but I was in Dallas long enough to kind of get a good feel for just the energy of that franchise. And the players, I feel bad for the players on the Cowboys because when I was there, I could see it with my eyes, the kind of pressure that those players are under to be a champion, and nothing less is acceptable. And sometimes you could see it cracking guys. And I was like, I was a little resentful of the coaches there because of that, because I came from a small market team where nobody gave a damn if Jacksonville wins until we win like 6 in a row. Then they care. Nobody cares. We're a show me team. Show me you're good because we don't believe you. And the Cowboys are a team that is a gimme team. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you're awesome. We think you should be in the run for the championship every year. This team has won like 2 playoff games in the last 25 years.
Something like 3. And I remember like after they beat Seattle, like their entire fan base and the media just like went on a victory parade.
As if that Lombardi was already in the back seat. And, I think about what is it that really is the underlying issue. And I think everybody knows it. It's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, the aura of Jerry is always present. It's always present. When I was in Dallas on the practice field, there's this huge tower that sits at the 50-yard line. It looks like a press box at a college stadium. And that's Jerry's off. That's Jerry's spot where he's watching practice. And it's like, feels like the Death Star from Star Wars. Like
it feels like the Tower of Sauron with the one eye just like glaring down. That's what that feels like with the way you're describing it.
Yeah, it's just an aura of pressure and expectations that an owner should never have that kind of influence on the energy of the team. And, I did a little write-up on Reddit about that because to me, it was so obvious for anybody who played on a different team that didn't, that wasn't a team that had that kind of coverage and then went to a team like Dallas. From what I hear from players I know, that's like one of the only places that's like that in the NFL, where it's like deafening, like suffocating pressure. And the fan base, the coaches, the owner, everybody around those players, is applying pressure to those players, whether they know it or not, because they expect it to be a championship pedigree every year, year in and year out.
That's how it feels like with like a team from New York. You know, that media is relentless up there, and people crack.
People crack. Yeah, people crack, and you know, I really doubted that Mike McCarthy was going to change anything about the Cowboys when they said they were going to hire him, because Mike McCarthy is really Jason Garrett just 2.0 when it comes to dealing with a personality like Jerry Jones. I mean, when I think of coaches that could handle that and probably could control their team just in spite of Jerry Jones, or just despite Jerry Jones, I think of guys like Mike Tomlin. I think that's the kind of coach that could go into Dallas and he has control of that team. And that would be, you know, he would set the culture for the team, not Jerry.
Yeah.
And
they tried that with Bill Parcells, but that was like an older Bill Parcells.
Yeah, so that was an older, tired, like, you know, trying to find out how to adjust to this newer age of football that he was in, where players had a voice, and it wasn't, you know, the iron fist like it had been in the 80s. Yeah. And you know, even with that, him and Jerry, from what I hear, they butted heads all the time. So
wouldn't shock me. I mean, Bill Parcells usually had a good deal of team control when he was in New York, New England, anywhere else. And like, it would be like bringing back like a Chuck Noll or a Bud Grant back in these modern days. It's like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it would take a coach of substantial pedigree, like a John Gruden, who could go in there and really affect the culture there. But Mike McCarthy fell into a great Green Bay Packers team with a superstar level Aaron Rodgers, who you know was who knew it was his time, and he took advantage of it. But you know, you could tell from the years following that there was a slow decline, because there, you know, he just doesn't listening to him talk. And I don't know him. I've never really been around him at all, but listening to a coach talk, you can kind of feel where they kind of come from with their perspective. And Mike McCarthy, I just really feel he feels like he should be a manager at Home Depot. Like, he doesn't. That's just the feeling I get from him when I hear him talk. Now, they always say he's this brilliant analytical head coach.
They've been saying that, but like, what analytics is he really bringing to Dallas? Like, the only thing that's changed is they're going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, they're going for it on fourth and whatever. They don't care.
Yeah, it's like fourth and down on the 30. It's like, what analytics say that's good there in the first quarter? It's like, okay, is that analytics?
I mean, it's crazy to me, because, you know, we had, you know, when I was in Jacksonville, we had Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio was highly respected by the players because he played the game for a long time. But not only that, he was highly respected because he understood what the game does to the players over time, and that players will need, you know, their coach to look out for them in times where there is more need for recovery, in times where there's less need for physicality on the field. You know, the players coach, what you see with Pete Carroll up in Seattle, what you're seeing with guys like what's his name out in LA,
Sean McVay.
You know, they're that hybrid coach that is well received by the players, because he understands where they need leeway and when they, you know, need to turn it up. And Del Rio was one of those early age of coaches like that in this newer era of football. And he understood that. And that's why, for me, when I heard he was in Washington, I was like, oh, hell yeah, Jack's going to be just fine. Everywhere Jack goes, I think players like him, because he really does have an understanding and a relatability to players because of his history with football and his respect for it and his respect for the players. And he doesn't look at it like rocket science. He looks at it like, this is a man's sport. This is football. And at the end of the day, it comes down to which man is willing to do what it takes and willing to, you know, fight through their adversity and the struggle to do their job the best way they can in the most consistent way possible. And, you know, that's it. Other than that, you're thinking too much.
I think analytics can play a role in the NFL. Like I think it offers a different perspective and like a look than like film can, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all. I think a blend is the best way to do it because analytics can't really look into situations of, player morale or like drive, aggressive physicality. Like it can't really look into that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's that soft stuff that analytics overlooks, even like a baseball situation where analytics is extremely heavy. It doesn't take into effect like any of those like soft elements that you can't really like calibrate per se.
Mm-hmm. There's some things you can't calculate the heart of a player.
Oh yeah, you can't calculate that. You can't calculate drive. You can't really calculate physical strength, torque, physics.
IQ, because IQ is fluid. Like it's better as you get more experience, but there's always new wrinkles.
Total mistake on another play.
Yeah, dude. I mean.